Oh boy. So, big talk. Is renting a legendary boat worth it? Is it worth it? Me personally, I think it is and it is not worth it. Renting it for $2 million, what's the perks in it? Well, perks are currently you can have a legendary boat and you get more of your little snowflake tokens for your Christmas event. And also having a legendary boat, you can also do your premium weekly supplies or daily, whatever it may be. That's useful. And I think the other useful thing about having your legendary boat is the fact that you can test it before you go months and months grinding for a bureau contract and having your boat. So I think that's the perk in also renting. But it's going to be a stock boat. There's not going to be no upgrades. So you're going to be spending $2 million for it, and then you're going to have to spend, I think it's 250 or $200,000 for the first upgrade. Then it's going to be 400,000, 2 million, and I think then it's going to be 4 million for just the little upgrades. And hold on, let me check that out. I think that's what it's going to be because I just rented out the Grover Kurfürst. I've played it before, but I decided to rent it. I want to see what's the perks in renting a boat for 1 month. Yeah, like I said, you can get your $200,000 first mod. The second mod would be 400. Third mod would be 2 million. Fourth mod would be 3 million. And then you get a free 420 millimeter artillery upgrade. That's really useful. And then also, the Grover Kurfürst would have 95,000 hit points. That's also a really good perk. So, if you're new to the game, I would never ever recommend you buying this boat or buying any of the legend boats, not the Shimmy, not the Alaska Grover or the Russian. Would not recommend that because of your your playing level. So if you just started this week, this month, or 2 months ago, I would not recommend any of those legend boats. I would recommend you playing up your levels, get knowing the game better, play standard mode as much as you can to understand how the game really works, how people work, and it will really change your gameplay. Don't stay on AI because the AIs will you can pretty much predict an AI. They're starting to get smarter, but you can pretty much predict the AI. Go to standard mode, run standard, figure out what's the best scenario for the boat you're playing. That's what I would do. And I say that because if you go out there, you start the game this month, you can buy you a brand new Grover Kurfürst legendary tier. That's above tier 7 nearly. That's like it is its own tier at this point. It is above tier 7. I would not recommend you doing that because not only are you going to have extremely experienced players shooting at you, but you'll also not know what to do in the scenario. And should you turn your bow in? Should you turn your bow out? Should you give them a full broadside? What should you do? If you just started the game, you would have no idea on how to use your angling or anything. I didn't. I know anyone else that just started the game did not either. No one. When the game's still relatively new, but I really do think it's a good thing to have renting a boat. You get the perks out of it. There's perks of you having. It's a free boat basically. Like I said, it's a free boat without you having to spend months and months and months, literally months, grinding to have a one single boat. Like the Grover Kurfürst on Bureau right now, I've started, but I haven't completed it. The Shimakaze, I'll have my Shimakaze by next month, at least. But You doing so and purchasing your brand new legend boat, people think of you as a kid, basically. People think of you as a noob because you rented a boat. That's not incredibly true. I have friends that have told me that. Have um I've even watched people that on YouTube, like Spartan Elite, talk about that. It's that's the only other poor thing about having a rental boat on your team is that it could be a kid, and they could put your team into jeopardy. You will not be able to win the battle, etc. You don't want that. I don't want that. Nobody wants to do that. Everyone wants to win and make their little cash value out of what they're doing. Right? Right. So, let me talk quick about the Grover Kurfürst. Grover Kurfürst is a very, 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 very good German battleship. It has very good hit points. It has very good turtleback armor. Has very good turrets. Has good armored turret guns. Has great secondaries. I have a secondary mod on it right now that's going 9.5 kilometers away, and I think I can increase that if I just wiggle around a little bit. So, like right now, I have enough money to do um another mod on my Grover Kurfürst. I'm gonna do a propulsion mod because I think the Grover Kurfürst needs a propulsion. I think it needs to get quicker. All right, I just bought that. The next one is $2 million. $2 million. That's quite a bit of cash. Like I said, if you're just starting the game, and also also has to do bigly with your commanders. Like I have an Azure Lane commander in my Grover Kurfürst, and I have her set up with it increases my secondary guns by 12% in range. Then her inspiration has another increased secondary range by 6%. And then the mod I have on my boat increases it by another 20%. So it going from 7% or 7 kilometers shot, now I'm going 9 kilometers a shot. And that is also increasing the grouping, the accuracy, and the length or the velocity of the shot. That is very crucial when you're wanting to have secondaries. That's why I want to get a Bismarck, because the Bismarck can reach you way across the map with its secondaries if it wanted to. That's good. Now, there's other things the Grover Kurfürst has to offer with its first secondary or its first available modification. You got Dispersion of Main Battery, which is Aiming System Mod 1, AA Guns Mod 2, and Main Battery Mod 2. Those are pretty decent mods for your first $200,000 go. Then you will have your available modifications for the number 2 slot for 400,000. Have Propulsion Mod 2, Steering Gears Mod 2, Damage Control System Mod 2. Those are also really decent things. Now, let's talk about the stats on it. Let's talk about its guns, main artillery. You have a 420 millimeter weapon. There is 4 turrets, and each turret has 3 guns. That's a lot of firepower. Per damage per shell is 13,000 damage. Per shell of HE is 5,000 damage. My range of my secondaries is 9.9 kilometers and I reload every 4 seconds. Okay, now let's talk about the Shimakaze. The Shimakaze is also a very, very good boat. That's a very good Japanese destroyer. I really enjoy the Japanese lines of destroyers. Like the Fubuki, that is a very, very deadly boat. Alright, so the Shimakaze has 17,000 hit points. Its main artillery has 3 turrets, 2 guns per turret. It's 127 millimeter armament. Torpedoes. You have 3 torpedo launchers that shoot 5 torpedoes. They're 610 millimeter weapons. And reload time is 131 seconds. Your max damage is 21,000 damage. And then torpedo range is 8 kilometers, which you can always raise that. And speed 76 or 76 kilometers. That's pretty quick, or knots. And then the maneuverability on it is 39 knots, which is you can move around that. And rotor shift time's 3 seconds, ain't too terrible. Turning circle radius is 690 meters. Concealment at sea is 6.7 kilometers, which, like I said, ain't bad. Detectability after shooting main gun, 10.7, and range by air, 3.3. After shooting main gun, 5.9. Guaranteed detectability range, 2 kilometers, while firing in smoke, 2.5. That's awesome. Now, let's say your armor is, of course, not going to be all that great. It's a destroyer, ain't supposed to be all that great. That's a really cool boat. Now, the Alaska. The Alaska is also another awesome boat. It is an American cruiser. It's a heavy, heavy, heavy American cruiser. It has big armament. It's a really awesome boat. All right. Survivability, 54,000 hit points. Armor thickness, 16 to 333 millimeters. Artillery has 3 main guns, and every main gun or every turret has 3 barrels, 3 guns, and they are mounted with 305 millimeter weapons. Those are pretty decently large for a cruiser, and they fire range at 16 kilometers. Reload time every 20 seconds, not bad. AP shell damage, 8,900 per shell, not too terrible. Secondary firing range is 5 kilometers, but you can always adjust that. Your maneuverability is 33 knots, and your rotor shift time is 13 seconds. Your concealment at sea is 13.3 after shooting main gun 16 kilometers. Detectability by air is 8 kilometers after shooting main gun 14 kilometers. When ship is on fire is 11 kilometers. And guaranteed detectability is 2 kilometers. And in smoke, 10.2. I'll get to the Russian boat next video. Thank you for watching, and talk to y'all next. Later.